Hello, everybody. It's Kerri
Suze.
and welcome to a very special late night edition of We Might Get in Trouble for This podcast. It is 10. Oh my gosh, it's 10:49 p.m. and we're taping in pajamas because Susie has children and has no free time during the day. Right, Suze?
I don't.
I want to call this episode Kerri Should Not Be Left Unsupervised.
Okay. That's good.
Because I have so much to tell you. I don't know where to start, but the underlying theme of this episode is Kerri needs hormones, and that's going to solve a lot of problems. Okay. And I am at the end of this episode going to tell you that I did start hormone therapy, but this behavior was all unfiltered, non-hormone therapy behavior, which I would like to preface. But it all started with me getting under anesthesia about a month and a half ago and signing up for Facebook dating, as you know that story.
Yes.
And then going on one date, and then dipping my toe back in the dating pool after 12 years, for those of you that don't understand what that's like, 12 years of not dating, and then running back into my cocoon and being like, that was for other people. And then I went to Italy with my daughter, and I'm going to shorten this. I cannot catch a cold in America. I can't catch anyone in America, but there's something about my DNA maybe in Italy that makes the Italian men want to date me. And so I found my mojo, my Austin Powers mojo, by posting a video on Instagram live from Rome. I'm walking through the streets by myself, and it got 40,000 views in 24 hours. And yeah, which is great. We love viral.
That's a lot.
We love viral. Yeah. Yeah, it is. So all the Italians started messaging me, and my friends are like, are these real Italians? Yes, they are real. They're not bots. I vetted them. And I started carrying on these text conversations with many, 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 many Italians. And all of a sudden, my non-hormone mojo started percolating, and I started getting voicemails and videos of them cooking. And I thought that I was in menopause, but if you listen to these voicemails, as I told you, you could get pregnant. I don't know if I sent you did I send you any of the voicemails?
No.
But I sent
I'm
you
married. I don't want to hear them.
but they're not even sexual. They were just like, oh, they could read the Bible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the voice.
It's the voice. And the fact is that these men started off, one was 25. The first one was 25. The second one was 33. Then we were at 30. We've moved up to 37. They don't care. They don't care. And I've had a lot of Botox, so they think I'm like 40. But it's been a wild ride, Susie, like a wild hormonal ride. And I felt convicted, not like I was doing anything wrong, but my daughter was like, you're inappropriate, mother. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm only inappropriate if it's in person. If it's on text, it doesn't help. And it's gotten to be a little out of control. And so I have nicknames for them. There was the Sheffy, because he's the chef. There's a politician. I'll use his real name. I blocked him, Valentino. We love you, Valentino, but we're not happening.
Oh, you blocked him. Oh, gosh.
I had to, because I felt like, God, is this a distraction? So I came back to America, and they were still messaging me. And I am a really good pen pal. And so I was messaging them back for hours. It was bad. And then they would send me videos. I'm cooking the pasta. And I was like, it's 6:00 in the morning here in California. I need to be at the gym. And it's like 10 o'clock at night there. And they were adorable and sweet. And like the dopamine was real. I kid you not. The dopamine was like really real. And then I'm like, God, what are you doing? This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. So then.
Yeah, the dopamine was so good, because when you were like, I was going to be like, your period.
Pregnant. My friend
my ovaries are working.
Yeah, my camera was like, my ovaries are back. So this is what I did. And this is such a full disclosure podcast. I sell things. I people listen to this podcast, and my intimate family probably won't. Then I'm such an idiot that I did the free trial on one of these dating American apps, because I was like, Well, the dopamine from Italy is like not good for me. And maybe if I put Jesus on my profile on like an American dating app, like that would be okay, right? So I
Yeah,
did
girl,
it.
I will always already tell you right now, it is not the same.
It is not the, oh, it's so not. God. So then, okay, to wrap up my story, last week I had a guy, his name's Iron Man because he is an iron worker, and he was really funny. And I like him. He's a Gen X, and he's like, "Can I just call you?" And we talked on the phone. And it was really funny and text, but there's such a pheromone thing on the phone, right? Like it just like wasn't clicking on the phone. And I was bored and he's not asking me any questions about myself. And all I have to do is hang up on him. And there's three Italians that are like, telling me about your day. Everything you do is
Yeah.
like, I'm like, Jesus, this is not fair. This is not fair. And I'm sending the pictures to you and my friends are like, this is not fair. And I was like, send me a selfie. And so they're sending me, I'm like, these are real photos. These guys aren't even fake. I mean, they look airbrushed. And so then I do have an update. So I blocked Sheffy and I blocked Valentino because I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Even though Sheffy might be coming to California to start a pasta business, which is really bad.
Ooh.
Then I got a new one and I can't say his name because I still might be communicating with him, and he is trouble. He's the one I sent you yesterday, and you were like,
Hmm.
Lord have mercy. He looks like
Yeah.
he pumped like a calendar. Why do these guys in Italy post pictures of them coming out of the ocean? Like it's always them in the ocean. And so my kids are out of town. They went camping, and around 7 o'clock this morning, which is like whatever time, 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
like, ciao, Bella, what are you doing? And I was like, I need to go to the gym and not be talking to you, is what I need to be doing. So I chatted with him, and then I went to the gym. And as soon as he's like a little fairy in my phone, and I came out of
Hmm.
the gym,
Hmm.
and he
Hmm.
was right there. And then he's like, what are you doing now? I was like, I need to go back in the gym and stop thinking about you because he's gorgeous. And the whole day, it's just bad. The whole hour, I chatted with him so long to the point where I was like, I need to repent. This is bad. It was bad. It was bad. I mean, not like I don't want my viewers to
But
think I'm bad. It was just bad. And I should have shut it down. And so this is what happened. I went back on Hinge at 5 o'clock today. Because I was like, well, if I'm gonna be bad and be off the wagon, I'm gonna be all the way off the wagon. And so I put Jesus, Jesus, Jesus on my Hinge profile, like full time. Like, if you don't talk about Jesus, don't write me. And this normal, nice guy writes me. Okay. Like cute,
okay.
normal, in Sacramento,
Uh-huh.
funny. It's funny because he goes, I'm funny, and he doesn't know my job. And I go, I bet I'm funny. I go, I bet I'm funnier
Yeah.
than you. He goes, slim to none. I was like, challenge. And then so we chatted, and then I was like happy because I was like, he like totally was like, oh, and he's like, I'll hold the door for you. And like, these are my general messages. I know which side of the table a lady needs to sit on, like super old fashioned. And then I said something charming. And then he didn't write me back. And that was like at 7 o'clock. And I have a bandwidth of not writing me back of 30 minutes before I block you. I
Hmm.
haven't blocked him. But is that what the kids are doing today? Because that's bullcrap. So that's my life. I've got one Italian still on the hook. I got to get rid of him. He's so bad. And then I have one American that I thought, oh, by the way, very Christian, this guy. He's like, I love the prayer thing. I loved her. I love talking to the Lord. But you don't write me back. I'm adorable. My ego's really big. So if you don't write me back, like
Hmm.
that's your loss. What do you think?
Yeah.
But I like the American guy. He's like normal and he talks about prayer. And maybe
Yeah. So I think if his response is, hey, blah blah blah, sorry about my delay, blah blah blah, and because people can be delayed, right?
well, he doesn't owe me
Whatever. Like,
anything
is he a
because
neurosurgeon? Like
yeah,
like
I know
did
like
a patient
he
like
no, he's like
almost die?
he's like he's like some kind of blue collar maybe machine worker. He's very
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
Sacramento. He's got like a
Hmm.
not normally into this. He's got like a little bit of a beard, but he's very like manly, which I kind of like.
Hmm.
Uh And
Sure.
then if he doesn't come with a doctor's note, like I got the flu at 7 o'clock last night, I started vomiting, or
Right.
someone died. I
Right.
don't, but I'm like, how long do I give this guy? Like, he doesn't owe me anything because we just chatted. I think we probably exchanged 4 text messages like on that app
Hmm.
total. He was
Yeah.
very polite. He said, "You have nice eyes." Uh, very, very polite, very polite. But
Hmm.
how long? What's
Hmm.
the statute of limitations?
I
What do you,
don't know.
what?
I really don't know. Like, I have been single 1 year since I was 20.
I know,
One
but
year.
like,
But
when
I've been married more than once.
but you met a guy online.
Hilarious.
You met
Hmm.
Brody
So
online.
I believe in there's an element of me that believes in um talking to multiple people, or like in that first dating arena, if you have time to date different people, so that um one doesn't become like extremely
Right.
um like like when you're like so thinking about a person over and over and over, and your emotions are like heightened if they text back and lowered if they don't, not you're not there yet, but like that feeling,
Don't
you
ask
know
me about Italy. Don't ask me
when
about. You want to talk
when
about
that feeling
the
is
ovaries
happening.
are heightened. If Italy, it's like
But
they're
I think what's
really
different, I think what's different maybe with the men in Italy, maybe they're just more forward,
very, and I
and
love it.
the
I
men
love it.
in in the US, or in the people you're talking to, are not as forward. And I appreciate when men are forward in like a romantic way. You know what's weird though? As long as you like them. If you like them, any kind of romantic forwardness is like great. But if you don't like them, any kind of romantic forwardness is just weird.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
if
know.
you
It
like
goes from like
them,
it's either romantic or stalking.
you can stalk me if you look good to me. If you don't look good to me and you call
Hmm.
me twice, I'm gonna be like, you're cringy. But
Yeah.
like the thing is, I'm very not into internet dating. I've never really partaken too much of it. So I'm very old. Like if I'm texting you and we're gonna
Hmm.
stop texting, I
Hmm.
am so old that I want you to go, okay, I'm going to bed now. I will text you tomorrow. Or
Yeah.
it was nice chatting with you. Good night, or something like that. And so I think that's nice. And I don't think a lot of
I
people,
think it's nice and polite and mature and grown up. That's what I think it is.
well, you're correct. And if you don't
Hmm.
do that, I'm going to give you 1 day, maybe. I'll probably give him a day. And then if I just am not, if I'm not that important to you, or getting to know me isn't that important, no hard feelings.
Hmm.
Like, I think the great thing about being a certain age is you have a healthy ego. My ego is very healthy. I'm like,
Hmm.
God is not ordaining for us to be chatting. Now, the problem is, I know that what I did today was really, and I keep saying wrong, and I don't want our listeners to be like, oh, Kerri, you're so scandalous. But like, I could tell that it was the train to Nowheresville messaging this guy and super flirty and like crossing every flirty line that I would never let an American guy, cross. And I was just like, I'm bored. Who cares? And then I was like, for the first time in a really long time, I felt like I might be doing something wrong. Like, really, I felt like this
Hmm.
might be wrong.
Hmm.
And I, as a mature Christian, did not stop myself at all. I was like, this is fun. I'll deal with it later, God. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kerri, like, Kerri, you're a Christian, like, mom and like, I was like, oh, you still have all the capability to act like an idiot. Like, you have all the capability to do things. Like, we're never immune to temptation, I guess,
Totally.
or I'm not drugs, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing all these things,
Well,
but like going further and further away from God and wasting all this time and letting this guy say all these cross boundary comments to me and entertaining them and just being like, yeah, thanks. And I'm like, I would never let my daughters do this ever. And I was like, God, how bored am I? You know what I mean? Like, or how starved for attention am I? Like,
yeah. I mean, maybe if you can put it in this thing of like, Lord, forgive me for letting it go there or letting it be so in my headspace because it's
Yeah.
not good for you. It's not,
No.
it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel uncomfortable. Maybe though you should look at it as like, okay, there is something in me that still enjoys being desired and actually wants to desire someone. And maybe as your girls are getting older, it's like God's reminding you, hey, you're not dead yet. I may
And
have a
yeah,
relationship
yeah,
for you.
100%. Because I spent over a decade, like a guy would hit on me. I've been hit on like in the grocery store, or whatever, and I run to aisle four. I mean, like run. I remember it happening. And so I'm like, A, hormones. B, maybe God's bringing something and the enemy's bringing 13-7. And they're like weeds. These Italians, they pop up, man. You cut them off.
Mhm.
There's another one. But the thing was, I knew that it was not an appropriate conversation to be having, not like it was terrible. I knew it and I didn't stop it. And it was really weird because in my adult Christian life, I don't have a lot of things in my life that I know are wrong and I do anyway. It's been a long time. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You are really good at the black and white, right? You're very good at being like, this is right, this is wrong. Whereas me, I'm very like in the gray on a lot of things. It's not that I don't think things are right or wrong or don't look at it in that things. I'm a big believer in how even God works with us or our sin is he deals with the motivations of our sin,
Well,
right?
do you think that like,
So,
do you think I felt like God, when I do things wrong, I sometimes go back to my Catholic guilt and I go, I think he's mad at me now. Like,
mhm,
I think that he's not mad at me, but back to my Catholic, like I screwed that up today and I can't I talked about it with him in the car. I was like, God, you need to fix this. But I was very guilty, like, oh gosh, I can't be in his good graces till tomorrow. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's so theologically not sound, but there are
right.
consequences for sin. So now do I have to walk around going, that was sinful. Is the other shoe gonna drop? You know what I mean? Like,
No, you go, Lord, that was, you know,
but what are my
yes, that
consequences?
was sinful. I was trying to fill something in me with this thing that does feel good. And it's not that romance and love and relationship isn't good. Desiring someone and it is part of God has worked to help us procreate, right?
But like,
It's the
how do?
desire, the love of someone.
But I feel
So I
like
think
I'm gonna get punished because I did something wrong.
I do understand because I think all of us can have some of the kind of like Jesus came so God wouldn't hit me. You know what I mean?
But I have
like a little bit of
tangible,
that.
like, I have stories like, okay, this is a true story. In Playa Vista 10 years ago, 15, I don't know.
Hmm.
I was at the gym in Playa Vista and I sideswiped and like scratched a car like minuscule. It was a scratch though. It was a scratch. And I'm in a full confession. I was young and stupid and I didn't leave a note and I felt guilty about it. And the minute I did it, and I just was late. I was late for some appointment. I didn't
Totally,
even know.
totally,
And it
totally.
plagued me. It plagued me. It plagued me. So 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
I'm at a prayer meeting in Culver City and we hear
Hmm.
sirens and we hear, "Ah!" This, "Ah," right? And I look down. My car
Uh-huh.
has been hit by a drunk driver. My car got trashed. My car got hit, parked. The drunk
Right,
driver was so
right.
drunk, it swerved and totaled my car. I swear to
Oh
God, I
my
looked up
gosh.
in heaven. I was like, all right, I get it, Jesus. Like, I literally laughed.
Totally.
And I know that that's not true, but is it?
Right.
You know, like karma?
No, it's not. It's like people can be like, oh, well, you reap what you sow and consider it karma. But the whole reaping what you sow idea is ongoing habitual stuff. Do you know what I mean? That is the concept there. But I can understand how that can seem that way, right? And I would understand having guilt for like hitting someone's car and not leaving a note, right? It's just like the so I can say it like this, and maybe I've talked about this before. Because I met God and experienced God in sorrow and suffering, even when I was doing something quote bad, right? I could still feel his love and compassion, like mightily. And I think because he was, yes, sin is bad. God's issue with sin is it separates us from him, right? It pulls us away from him. And like it's hard for me not to experience that, right? I want to not sin because I know that I am by nature really, I can be very self-destructive, right? I think we said it before. There are people that are mean to others, and then there are people that are mean to themselves. I'm going to be mean to myself 99% of the time. Like that's what I've had to work on, right? So because I have been in the midst of doing something that people would call sin or could call sin, but have afterwards, in my own self-hatred, have felt the love and compassion of a savior sitting next to me and being near me. Like the presence of God, that is one um, of comfort and conviction. And I think I have a different idea of conviction sometimes than others, because I think conviction is like the Holy Spirit wooing us back home. Like
And
if I do feel uncomfortable for doing this thing, I'm not assuming I'm feeling uncomfortable because God wants to make me feel convicted because it's good for God. God wants me, like the Holy Spirit, if Holy Spirit's allowing me to be convicted, it's because it's good for me.
no, I know. And I could hear like the voice of God in the background today being like, girl, like literally, even when I went on this dating site, this like American dating site, I could hear that his voice
Right,
going, I didn't tell you to do that, honey, but like have at
right,
it. And then the irony
right.
of my life, the reason that my life is such an oxymoron is at the same time I get a video call today from Africa, from one of my
Uh-huh.
adopted kids, my adopted
Yeah.
teenagers, and he just got baptized. So my day is like I started out with a prayer meeting with women.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm
Uh-huh.
talking to my friend who is in Africa, who's 18 and just
Uh-huh.
got baptized. Then I'm talking to this guy from Italy. Then I am talking to this guy from America. And then another friend of mine from Africa calls me um, to tell me that one of his family members passed away. Like
Oh
his
no.
young
Mm.
9-year-old brother. So I'm like, this is I'm like, I get it, Jesus. I get it. The only one that one of these kids doesn't belong here is me hours and hours and hours entertaining all these affirmations from an Italian stranger, which really is the devil just going, let me get you distracted. Oh, and by the way, I was talking to my other friend who's a missionary in Thailand. Like, I think it's like
Yeah.
the devil's like, here's a shiny object. Don't look at what God may have for you around the corner. I want to get you out of your headspace.
Yeah.
And he can't
Have
do it
you
with
ever
y'all.
thought of, I mean, I think that's a really good example of a day in actual faith, you know? Like it doesn't look like a Christian movie, that we are all complex and we're all still human. Like the beauty of like the need to be desired and loved and that kind of thing. That's huge
And
and
like, you know
of
what?
God.
There is an epidemic going on in the church with sexual misconduct and sin and all that stuff. And like, not
Mm,
just, the abusive stuff, that's the worst, but even like, this infidelity. It's like that's a big stronghold out there. Like that desire
it
to
is.
and these are like the titans of faith. And you're like, you cheated on your wife.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
were having all the like
And you know what I think. I think all of it can be threaded back to complementarianism. 1000%. The false, and I'm not going to, people can be complementarians if they want to be, but when it becomes in the way of a hierarchy that men are here, women are here, and children are here. Like that is so backwards. It's not of God at all, any kind of hierarchy like that. But when we are lazy or shallow in our reading of scripture, either because we genuinely don't know better and genuinely are trying our best, or we don't care if it's deeper or if it's better because it works out for us, or many other reasons, right? Delusional, deceived, demonic, whatever. I think those kind of hierarchies, those kind of like I'm in charge and blah blah blah, that leads to infidelity. It leads to men going, "You are not feeling my need, and I'm the boss," whether they want to say it or not.
And there are men out there saying it, and there's good Christian men out there saying it, and I won't get into that because that's a whole nother podcast. But I think with me, what you're making me think is there's nothing wrong with like traditional roles or whatever, like a woman wanting to be pursued, and I think that's what I'm like, okay, God cut it off for such a long time for me because he wanted me to raise my children and be present and
Yeah.
like, never even question it. But so the minute I get like pursued in like a hardcore way, it turns on a light switch and goes, "Oh, that I remember what that felt like. That was really great." But now I have to turn around and go, "God, I need it to be your person pursuing me equally minded, faith-wise. And even maybe this guy tonight, faith-wise, God didn't want me talking to him." Like I have to always think, okay, you're not my assignment. If you're not going to message me and I'm not going to message you, God's like dodged a bullet. Not even that you're bad or I'm bad, but it's just like I have a healthy ego enough to go, we're just not it, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like the idea you don't want to be busy with the wrong person.
Yeah, and
Like,
I don't want to use the word ghosting as a verb. Like I will never say that I
mhm,
ghosted somebody because you're an idiot if you do that and you can't be a
mhm,
grown up and just be like, naturally you could be busy and sort, like after that guy I went out with on one date, I didn't ghost him. I still
mhm.
say polite things on his Instagram, but he gets the
Yeah.
picture. Like we don't have to have a
Yeah.
full blown "I don't like you" conversation. But
Yeah.
the guy that I texted with tonight, like I literally am not even thinking about him. I'm kind of like, that's weird because I'm really, really
Yeah.
adorable. And
Can
my
you not see it? Like, can you not see it in some ways as like, I don't know, I think it's really cool what's happening in a lot of ways. There can be like, so it's like how we feel about certain things or wanting to bypass certain things or feeling like we're sinning about certain things. I feel like it's so exciting to me because it's also like God kind of nudging and telling us things too, right? Because if we, how do I say it? Not at all the same, but like it's creating an emotion for you, right? Like it's like lighting up those endorphins, those feelings of like wanting, desiring, partnership, whatever it is. Just enjoying being seen as beautiful and lovely and being told that. That's not a bad thing. That's a wonderful thing, right? And maybe it's kind of like going to the Lord and be like, this is a thing that is happening in me. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, and if you want to,
Show me if it's of you.
and
You
then
know what I
next
mean?
and next week I'm going to be on testosterone, so we're going to see how that flies because I've
Oh
heard
wow.
the
Well,
story. But I think it's
yes,
good. I
totally.
appreciate you like helping me process it. I am old enough to know better, but I wasn't old enough to do better today. And I want like our listeners to know like that's okay. Like we're gonna have days
Yeah.
like that. It's not gonna
Oh,
be a
totally.
repetitive thing. It's not gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I went off the wagon and became a alcoholic, or I went off the wagon and I'm dating three yahoos. But like I was like, all right, I didn't do better today. My kids were out of town. I got lots of attention, but and it's weird because I don't treat these Italians like they're human beings. I'm just like block. But I think the Italians might have a wife and three girlfriends. Who knows? I always joke about that with all of them and they deny it, but um they're not real. They're people, but like I'm probably part of a group text that I don't know about. But
I don't know. I mean, don't close off. Like, I understand what you're saying about these guys, but don't close off asking for the Lord to bring you someone who
but
is
I would like,
actually
yeah, in
romantic
America.
and
In
authentically,
America.
yeah, in America, romantic, authentically loving, like someone that can actually do and say those things,
But
Like,
that's what, like, I was bummed because this guy tonight was like, I always hold the door for a lady, and I always like, and he's like kind of like manly man, and I was like,
yeah.
I could be attracted to that. Like, you know what I mean? That wasn't typically who I dated before I got married, but I'm like, oh, you look like you could fix things, like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and then there's like,
Can you change the oil in my
no,
car?
seriously, love language. So we'll just see. He doesn't. I kept, and here's the thing that I always want to say. I don't owe him anything. He doesn't owe me
Yeah,
anything. We're not dating. We didn't even say we had a date. Who knows if his kid walked in the room and was like, Dad, why are you out? Like, who the heck knows? Like, I don't know anything about him. I think he's a dad. I'm pretty sure he's a dad. Um, but, but, but if it were to go in a further direction of like, oh, we're chatting, on a consistent basis, I'd set some ground rules and be like, you don't have to
sure.
play my game, but call me on the phone. I don't want to be pen pals.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Did you talk to Brody for a long
100%.
time before you met him in person?
Yeah. So there was like 6 weeks between us emailing for the first time and then going on our first date. And part of that was traveling and then I think we went on our first date the beginning of October, but had started emailing in like August. I
That's
think
so
that feels
long.
like a long time. Hmm. What was I doing? I was writing at the time, and he traveled more for work, and so that was part of it. But I do remember it very clearly on a first date, having a different feeling than I had ever felt with anyone else. Not so much like love of my life, but being like, oh, I think this is the first time a man has ever listened to me. Like it
Yeah.
was such a
I
different
mean,
experience.
my new theory though is that 6 weeks longer than I would want to chat with somebody. Like a week, like 5 weeks. Maybe I chat with them for a week or so and be like, if you're not
Hmm.
pursuing me to get to know me, like be friends, casual dating, in person. I'm
Yeah,
very busy and I have enough pen pals. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right, right. Well, I wasn't talking to anyone else at that time at all. It was just like, I know that's a really long time. But I think by the time we actually met in person, we were both like, we're going to be, and I think we had even been honest, like, we're going to be disappointed if the chemistry is not there.
and that's what it's a big disappointment after 6 weeks. That's why
Hmm.
I'm like, video call me. Like, talk to me on the
Hmm.
phone. Let me hear your voice. I can kind of tell I'm a big chemistry person. I can tell pretty quickly, like if we gel, you can be adorable on texting, but if you can't hold a conversation, and
Hmm.
that's the thing that bummed me about this guy tonight. He's like, in his profile, he wrote, I don't want one word answers. I don't want to play 20 questions with you. I want to have like a conversation. So, maybe he got abducted by aliens and then like tomorrow, or also I think maybe these guys on dating apps think this is how it rolls. Like they just think like,
Maybe.
I'm one of these girls that's kind of like, hey, que sera, sera. You'll figure that out quickly enough about me. I'm just not. And none of my relationships before I got married were like that. They were all very intentional, you
Well,
know?
I love that, that kind of thing of being intentional and being like, hey, I don't think that's going to work out, or hey, I had a really nice time talking to you. Good night, whatever. It takes a kind of bravery and a courage that is really sexy. That kind of honesty. Who doesn't love that,
And he
you
even
know?
put it on his profile though. This guy goes, if you're not interested, no hard feelings. So like I said, we literally exchanged like four, but every single message he wrote me was questions like,
Hmm.
tell me about your trip, like, tell me about your hobbies, tell me about this. And I was like,
Right.
oh, wow. And he's like, I love that you pray for strangers. So we'll just see. He's, like I said, you and the world know I'm moving back to Southern California and my real, like, true love is on a boat in Newport somewhere. But for now, we shall see. But I feel like I got to process this with you, which is really good. And I think I'm not alone. I think a lot of women are dealing with this, thinking that we have to settle because we're of a certain age, and I just don't think it's true. I just don't think it's
No.
true.
My mom met the love of her life when she was 69 years old,
I love
and
that
she's never been happier.
much. Well,
Never been happier.
I'm not waiting, but
Oh, yeah,
I
for sure.
am in my Botox years, so I feel like I've got some good years left.
Yeah. Do you have any plastic surgery stories or no?
Well, I have a new one that I want to have, and the fact that
Okay.
you and I were talking about it before, I want to have this. And first of all, Bethany Frankel, stop lying about not getting filler because you're a liar. Okay, so
Maybe you're not. Sorry, Bethany.
sorry, I love you, but come on.
I
Okay,
know.
so
I do love her, and I feel so terrible that her divorce was so horrific.
was it?
I remember watching um, Real Housewives of New York her wedding episodes, which were some of the only ones I watched because I don't like to watch any confrontation, so I always have to fast forward
I try to
all
watch
the way
it.
through the
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah.
So like I don't even watch it anymore because what's the point? But I feel so bummed that was over. It was like 10 years. It was horrible.
Well, she's a new boyfriend and she's ungodly rich and he's ungodly rich and she seems happy. But
Hmm.
okay, so she was talking about plastic surgery. I don't ever want to have a facelift because I'm scared of surgery. I love
Hmm.
Botox. I'll do it all day
Hmm.
long.
Hmm.
Maybe right now in my life about twice a year.
Hmm.
Maybe 3 times a year, depending on how many months I remember to go. But I was at this new dermatologist and I said, how do I avoid getting a facelift in my later years?
Hmm.
And he said,
Hmm.
filler can go bad. Like if you do filler all the time, it can go bad. I'm like, oh, that's not good. And so he said,
Hmm.
we have this thing called threads. And when I said threads, you knew what it was. I
So
love you
exciting.
so much. I love you. So apparently I want to get threads, which is like, maybe you can
It goes
explain
like
what
this.
it,
Yeah, you're not under. They numb you. It's like topical numbing or
is
something.
it like
And
a
basically, it's
facial?
threads that are just like they put in certain areas and they go like this. I think they eventually dissolve. I
Well,
can't
when you say
remember.
go like this,
And
we have audio listeners, so they go like this and your face
okay,
gets.
sorry. They pull things up
I love that.
taut and tight.
And at the same time, they do a laser peel.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. So
I might do it. I do. I mean, it's not like a surgical thing. It's kind of like in place of filler, maybe in place of. For
yeah, because it does something different than filler. Because part of it is gravity has taken our faces down. Gravity, life, stress, all those things have totally like, what I did, everyone who can't see, is pull my face down. Like, so it takes care of any kind of jowls or whatever, it takes care of the things that gravity and our 20s did to us.
And the fact that we want to have it now makes me laugh because I really don't think I have jowls. But if I go into a
No.
dermatologist office in LA or in California, he'll be like, yeah, you should have threads. And I was like, because there's no doctor that's going to be like, you're fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with
Yes,
you.
true. No,
He's like,
no.
I
Uh,
need cash. So I think I
yes.
might do it in July. And I hope I'm not dating anyone because there's downtime and I'll have to tell him I went out of town.
There isn't a ton of downtime.
five
I think
days,
there's some swelling,
5 to 7 days.
some swelling,
Yeah, well,
but
I
it's
can't
not
have
like
a new I can't
you
have
can't eat or drink.
oh, I love that.
And can I also just say,
What?
so people know how well-rounded we are.
Yeah.
My birthday is coming up. I'm going to be 45. Um, and
How many days?
since I don't know, I can't count anymore. Um, so what I asked for my husband, even though I'm going to get thread someday, I did ask for a circular saw and a wood cutting table because I'm going to build a deck
What?
myself. Yes. Yeah. So
Susie,
we're
like,
well
I
rounded.
am so impressed by you. Like, if you were single and you put that on a dating website, I feel like all the men in America would like be like, you're so sexy. Like, that's amazing. I love that about you.
I just one of I tiled our whole kitchen I love the crew guys. Like I love working with them, but it annoys me because I'm like, why can't I do that? I could do that if I had all the
Oh,
equipment
we're
to do it.
we're exactly the opposite. I love the crew guys and telling them what to do and planning with them and dreaming with them, and then they do it.
It just bothers me because I'm like, I don't know. It just annoys me. Am I a control freak? I don't know.
I'm
Not in
like
all
such
areas.
a little flowery girly girl and go, you guys are doing great. I love you so much. I want
But
photos. I want photos
another thing,
of
well,
everything.
go ahead. You go it. Do it.
I
You
want
want what?
photos of the deck. I want all of it. So I'm just congratulating you on that. And happy early
Yeah.
birthday.
Yes. Yes. And then also, um, we greatly hear about what's happening in the world. I just want everyone to know we are making this, we were talking light about each other, but trust me, I am rage typing and writing many times throughout the day. So
So
it's
you
not that
just
we don't
want
care
our
about all the
listeners
things going on in
to
the
know
world.
that
I can even be obsessive to the point where I am like, I'm going to run for Congress, right? Or, like,
I
so
see you
it's
being
important
like,
for our audience to know this is like
yeah.
a breath for us. And it's a breath that I need. And I'm always grateful that you bring that to me.
I
Because,
mean, like I
people,
said, like 2 hours ago, I was on the phone with a sweet boy and he lost his
Exactly.
10-year-old brother. And knowing that I could come talk to you about threads and boys is such a breath of fresh air. And I hope that's what this podcast is for people. It's just like
Yeah.
funniness with a dose of learning. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like ridiculous with like a dose, but I really appreciate processing some of this stuff with you. And I think our listeners will too, because it's kind of like, I'm not crazy. I'm not wrong. I'm not bad. None of this is bad. It's just, what am I going to do?
No.
You know what I
You know,
mean?
I heard someone talking about parenting and how like the first thing is like to look at their children as sinners, and I was like, this is so messed up because we got to go back to Genesis 1 or whatever, whenever God made us. I don't remember what chapter it is, but it we were good, you know, and then obviously sin, the fall, but that is if we can love ourselves enough to know that we are beloved and we are made in the image of God, and that adds great value and wonder in who we are. And then we can recognize that we are also fallen in a fallen world, any fallen system that we didn't create, right? And even I think of the fall as us not recognizing that, like us trying to take things into our own hands all the time and
I,
not like
I
resting
agree.
in the
I
love of
couldn't
God.
agree
And
more.
you know what I mean? And and so I was like, oh man, if people in the Christian world look, if they're starting out as they're raising their kids, and this is like not universally true of everyone, but I do think we're seeing a heightening in it. um if the first thing you see when you look at your baby is a sinner, there's something wrong there.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
something wrong, and that's a reflection of how you feel about yourself.
Well, I feel good about myself, and
Good,
I
I'm
think
glad.
I deserve. We'll see what Joe Schmo does tomorrow. Stay tuned next week
Will
for
do.
my
Bye.
hormone update. But I love chatting with you, and we love your letters and emails and comments. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube if you want to see our pretty little pajama faces. Uh, make sure you follow us everywhere, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.